Do you ever wonder why some people walk into a room and it feels like the air shifts in their favor? Why they don't even need to speak before others start paying attention? It's not luck. It's not even about being born confident. It's about habits. Quiet, daily habits that slowly mold you into someone unstoppable. And here's the secret most people don't know. Confidence isn't a loud roar. It's a quiet certainty, a flame you nurture every single day until it burns so brightly. The world can't ignore it. Today, I want to share with you 7 daily habits that will take you there. And as I speak, I want you to imagine yourself, not someone else living these habits. Because if you stick with me until the very end, you won't just understand confidence. You'll feel it beginning to grow inside you. But first, let me ask you a question. How many moments in your life have you walked away from because you felt too small, too unworthy, too afraid of what others might think? Think about it. The job interview you didn't apply for, the person you wanted to talk to but didn't, the dream you left gathering dust because your inner voice whispered, "Who are you to want that?" That voice has stolen enough from you, and today we're going to silence it. So let's begin with the first daily habit. Every morning, before the world even knows you're awake, I want you to picture this. You stand in front of the mirror. But instead of looking for flaws, instead of criticizing the tired eyes, the messy hair, the imperfections, you look yourself straight in the eyes and say 3 powerful words. I am enough. Now, I know what you're thinking. It sounds corny, maybe even foolish. But let me tell you a story. A man I once met called James used to shrink in every meeting, brilliant ideas locked inside, too afraid to share them. Then he started this exact practice. Every morning, no matter how silly it felt, he told his reflection, I am enough. Weeks turned into months. And slowly, something shifted. He didn't suddenly become fearless, but he began to speak up. His voice no longer trembled. And one day, his boss told him, I don't know what's changed, but you carry yourself differently. That was the day James realized. Confidence begins not when others believe in you, but when you finally start believing in yourself. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what would change in your life if you truly believed you were enough? Sit with that thought. Because that's the first seed of unstoppable confidence. But here's where most people fail. They stop after a day or two. They think confidence is instant, like flipping a switch. But the truth? It's built like a muscle, rep by rep. Which brings me to the second habit. But before I tell you that, I challenge you every single day. Do one thing that scares you. Not something reckless. Not something dangerous. But something that makes your stomach flip. For some, that's speaking up in class. For others, it's making eye contact with a stranger and holding it just a second longer. For you, it might be finally sending that email, starting that project, asking that question. Fear shrinks when you face it. And each time you lean into it, you teach your brain a powerful lesson. I survived. I can handle this. That's how courage grows, not in giant leaps, but in tiny daily victories. Think about it. The first time you tried to ride a bike, you probably fell. Maybe scraped your knee. But you got back on, and now you don't even think about balancing. Confidence works the same way. If you avoid the fall, you never learn to ride. But if you face the wobble day after day, soon enough you glide. So ask yourself tonight, what fear will I face tomorrow? And when you answer, you'll already feel stronger. Therefore, as you can see already, habit number 2 is to practice something scary daily. I mean, face your fear. Now let me take you deeper. Because confidence isn't just about actions. It's about what happens in the silence of your own mind. Imagine your mind as a garden. Every negative thought, I can't, I'm not good enough, I'll embarrass myself, is a weed. If you don't pull the weeds, they spread. But if you plant new seeds, thoughts of growth, possibility, self-belief, over time, your mind becomes fertile ground for confidence. I once coached a young woman who constantly told herself, I'm terrible at public speaking. Guess what? Every time she stood up, her hands shook. Her words stumbled. Until one day, I asked her to replace that story. Instead of, I'm terrible, she repeated daily, I'm learning to get better. That simple shift gave her permission to grow. Months later, she delivered a presentation that earned a standing ovation. Not because she was suddenly flawless, but because she changed the story she told herself daily. Therefore, habit number 3 is this. Curate the voice in your head. So ask yourself, what story are you telling yourself every day? And is it time to rewrite it? But let's be honest. Sometimes, no matter how much you change your thoughts, the world still throws challenges your way. This is where habit number 4 comes in. Nothing destroys confidence faster than breaking your own word. Think about it. How do you feel when someone promises to call and never does? Trust fades. The same happens with yourself. Every time you say, "I'll wake up early," but hit snooze, your trust in yourself weakens. But when you follow through, even on small commitments, you send a message to your soul. I can count on me. And that, my friend, is the foundation of true confidence. One man I admire shared this with me. He started by making his bed every single morning, a small, almost laughable habit. But every time he returned to his room and saw that bed neatly made, it was a silent reminder, I keep my promises. Over time, that tiny discipline expanded into larger areas of his life, fitness, business, relationships, and soon enough, he wasn't just making his bed. He was making his destiny. So habit number 4 is to keep promises to yourself no matter how small they seem to be. So what's one promise you can keep to yourself today? Start there. Build trust brick by brick. Now let's pause. Imagine for a moment what your life would look like 6 months from now if you practice just these 4 habits. Speaking kindly to yourself, facing daily fears, rewriting your mental story, and keeping your promises. Can you see it? Can you feel it? That subtle but unshakable sense that you belong in every room you walk into? That's where we're heading. But we're not done yet, because confidence isn't just about the inner world. It's also about how you move through the outer one. That brings me to habit number 5. Listen carefully. Before you even say a word, your body tells your story. Shoulders slumped, eyes on the floor? The world hears, I don't matter, but stand tall. Shoulders back, chin lifted, and the message changes. I belong here. And here's the twist. Your brain listens too. Research proves that changing your posture can actually shift your emotional state. Power poses don't just look confident, they make you feel confident. I'll never forget watching a shy teenager transform during a workshop. At the start, he mumbled, avoided eye contact, shuffled his feet. But after practicing posture, eye contact, and open gestures, something magical happened. His words carried weight. His laughter rang louder. He walked out not just looking different, but being different. And all it took was the daily habit of carrying himself like someone who mattered. So habit number 5 is to master your body language. So let me ask you this. If your body could speak for you tomorrow, what story would it tell? Let's continue. Confidence isn't only about presence. It's about preparation. That's why habit number 6 is so crucial. Think of the people you admire, the athletes, the speakers, the leaders. Why do they radiate confidence? Because they've prepared. They've practiced. They know they can rely on their skills when the moment comes. Confidence isn't arrogance. It is quiet competence built over hours of unseen work. I once heard a pianist say, I don't practice until I get it right. I practice until I can't get it wrong. That's confidence. Not hoping you'll perform well, but knowing you've put in the work. Therefore, habit number 6 is to sharpen your skills every single day. So, every day ask yourself, what small skill can I sharpen today? It doesn't have to be grand. 10 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of practicing. Tiny steps compound into mastery. And mastery creates confidence that no one can take away. And now we arrive at habit number 7, the one that ties everything together. You might not think of it as a confidence builder, but listen closely. When you live in constant comparison, measuring yourself against others, you'll always feel less. But when you anchor yourself in gratitude, you shift from scarcity to abundance. You stop focusing on what you lack and start recognizing the power of what you already have. And from that place, confidence grows naturally. I once asked a group of students to write down 3 things they were grateful for every morning. At first, their answers were shallow: coffee, good weather, a comfortable bed. But over time, they dug deeper. I'm grateful I overcame depression. I'm grateful for my resilience. I'm grateful for my voice. That's when the transformation happened. They stopped waiting for the world to validate them and began validating themselves. That's real confidence. Therefore, habit number 7 is to practice gratitude daily. Yes, be grateful for something every day, not matter how small it may seem to you. So tonight, before you close your eyes, whisper 3 things you're grateful for. Do it tomorrow and the next day, and watch how your spirit begins to rise. Now take a breath. Picture your life 1 year from now if you lived these 7 habits every single day. You look in the mirror and see someone who finally believes, I am enough. You face fears instead of fleeing them. You tell yourself empowering stories. You keep your promises. You carry yourself with presence. You sharpen your skills, and you live in gratitude. Slowly, steadily, you've built confidence not as a mask, but as your truth. And here's the best part. You didn't need to become someone else. You only needed to become fully you. So let me leave you with this. Confidence is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the truest to yourself. It's not built in a day, but it is built daily. And if you start today, if you plant these 7 habits into the soil of your life, I promise you, your future self will thank you. Because one day soon you'll walk into a room and people will feel it, the quiet power, the unstoppable certainty, and they'll wonder what your secret is. But you'll know it was never one big moment. It was the small, daily choices that built you into who you were always meant to be. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 habits are you going to start practicing today? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if this message lit a fire inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe for more powerful reminders like this, because your journey to unstoppable confidence has only just begun.